If you do the math, becoming a millionaire really isn't that difficult, because if you invested, we'll call it $100 a month. This is less than $4 a day, and you just invested your money into the markets, which has averaged 10% a year. So you put your money into the markets, you get a 10% average return. You're not trying to beat the market, you're just throwing your money into the stock market, and you do this for 45 years, well, you're going to retire with about $1 million. Now you're gonna say, well, Jaspreet, I don't wanna have to wait 45 years to have $1 million. And in 45 years, the $1 million is not gonna have the same buying power as today. Sure. But look at what I showed you. We're talking about $100 a month. If you can invest some more money, well, you're gonna have more wealth. What if you can invest $200 a month? What about $1,000 a month? What if you could get slightly better returns? If you could do a little bit better than 10% a year, well, now you could have a lot more wealth. And let's talk about how you can find that extra money, because the part that a lot of people don't realize is they're throwing a lot of money away when they should be keeping that money to make themselves rich first. This is what a lot of people on the internet will tell you gotta stop going to Starbucks and spending $5 on coffee, which sure, that's money that you could be putting towards your investments, but I like to start with the bigger numbers because that's easier to find more money first. Now, if I haven't made this clear, I don't make these videos to make friends. I make these videos to help you be better with money, so if you don't like before I'm about to say, I'm sorry. But one of the biggest places where you can find some extra money is the biggest purchase that you make, which is your house. And the reality is, this is from somebody who used to work as a real estate agent. Your house is sold to you as an investment, when in reality, you should treat your house like a liability and an expense, because houses don't always go up in value. Yes, over the long term, they do generally, but they don't always go straight up. We all remember the 2008 housing market crash. Well, if you buy a house thinking it's going to be an investment, the mistake you make is now you're probably going to overpay and you're not going to have actual money to invest. What every good realtor and what every good mortgage banker is going to do is they're going to help you find your dream house. Now, what is your dream house? Well, your dream house is something where you can build a family and hopefully be the best and biggest investment of your life. And the interesting thing about that is they're paid on commission, which means the bigger the house you buy, the bigger their commission check is. Now, most of the times your realtors and bankers are probably not going to just send you to a house that you can't afford, but you got to understand their motivation as well, because the bigger house you buy, the more money they make, and the bigger house you buy, the more your payments are going to be. And if your house is not an investment, maybe you shouldn't be buying so big. And this is where I'm not saying don't buy a house, I'm saying don't buy a house you can't afford. Don't buy a house when you can't afford it. When you treat your house like a liability, like an expense, now you're gonna look at the purchase very differently, because so many people go into home ownership thinking that I'm gonna buy this house and I'm gonna build generational wealth. I'm gonna buy this house, I'm gonna pay it off, and now I have an asset that I can pay down. But this is one of the biggest lies sold in this economy, because the reality is when you buy a house, let's say you buy this house for $500,000. The first thing you're gonna say is, what happens if my house goes up in value? Now I can pass it down. Well, if your house were to go up in value to, let's call it $1 million, you might say that's a great thing to happen. And it is, because now you're sitting on this asset that's worth a whole lot more money, but it's not actual money in your pocket, because it's just invisible money. It's equity. Equity isn't actual money. It's just what people think that this house is worth. The only way that you can get this money out is either if you sell the house or if you refinance. If you sell the house, well, you have the money in your pocket, but now you need a new place to live. If you refinance, well, now you got the money in your pocket because you take out an $800,000 loan against your house, but now you have to pay that money back plus interest. Not to mention now that you have $1 million house, which means your property taxes are now a whole lot more expensive, because you originally purchased a $500,000 house and were paying property taxes on a $500,000 house. Now you're paying property taxes on $1 million house, which means you have more expenses. Now you also have more insurance, because before you were insuring a $500,000 house. Now that you're insuring a $1 million house, your insurance is more expensive. And so if you pass the house down and your kids can't afford the property taxes and the insurance on $1 million house, well, now your kids have to sell the house because they cannot afford the property taxes and the insurance. And let's talk about your mortgage, because a lot of people think that their mortgage payment is an investment, but let's actually dig a little bit deeper. This is the amortization schedule of a $400,000 mortgage at 7% a year, and what you'll see is that in year one, $27,000, almost 28 grand of your mortgage payments are going directly in interest into your banker's pocket, while only $4,000 is going as principal to actually pay down the value of your house. And it isn't all the way until year 21 where the majority of your payment is going to principal as opposed to interest. So your banker is smart. They're front-loading your mortgage. So when you pay $3,000 a month on your mortgage payment, it's not half going to principal, half going to interest. In the beginning part of your mortgage, or for the first half, or more than half of your mortgage, more than half, the majority of your payment is going to your banker's pocket with interest, and then whatever's left is going to actually pay down the principal. And then if you refinance your mortgage in the first 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, even 20 years, well, you start the process all over again, which means, again, that money is going to interest and interest and interest, and the remainder is going to principal. Now hear me one last time. I'm not saying it's bad to buy a house. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy a house. I'm saying you should not buy a house you can't afford. Think of a house like a liability. Think of it like an expense. Buy what you can afford. That way you don't sacrifice your investments because of your house. We can also take a look at the second largest purchase for the majority of Americans, which is your car. The average new car payment in America today is almost $750 a month. And that does not include your premium gas, because now you have a luxury car. That doesn't include your more expensive insurance. And that does not include your more expensive maintenance, because when you drive a luxury car, the oil changes are also more expensive. I like nice cars. I don't want you to drive a beat up car for no reason. I want you to drive a car that you can afford. And when I say a car that you can afford, that means a car that you can buy with cash, because you don't want to be financing a car, because that would be a triple whammy. When you finance a car, you are, number one, paying interest on, number two, a depreciating liability, because your car is not going to go up in value, it's going to drop in value. As soon as you put the keys in the ignition on a brand new car, it's going to lose 18% of its value as soon as you turn the car on. And number three, a car has a limited lifespan. Your car is not going to last forever. And so when you finance the car, well, you're losing money. It's a guaranteed loss. So I'd rather you buy something that you can afford with cash. And if you still don't believe me, let me just show you the value of this. You don't want to blow money on your car payments, so you don't buy a new car. Instead, you go out and finance a used car, and now your payments are only $550 a month. Well, if you took that $550 a month and you buy this new car, after 30 years, this car is going to be worth $0, because that car is going to have a limited lifespan, and you're going to need a new car, and you have to get new car payments. So you're going to be making car payments, and you might say, well, Jaspreet, eventually I pay off the car. Well, as soon as you pay off the car, what happens? People feel weird without a car payment, so you have to trade it in and get a new car. So you end up paying more than $550 in 7 years once you trade it in for a new car, because cars get more expensive. But if instead of having $0 after 30 years, you bought a car that you could afford, what does that mean? You took the $8,000 down payment and you bought a $8,000 car. Now, sure, you don't have as nice of that BMW that you had before, but now you have a nice, good working condition Toyota Corolla, maybe a Toyota Camry that works. It has cheaper insurance, it has cheaper gas, and it's probably not too bad in maintenance because it's a Toyota. But now you get to keep that $550 a month. And now, if you take that $550 a month that you were giving to BMW, that you were giving to Mercedes, and now you invest that money into your wealth instead, you take that $550 a month, and now let's assume that you can only get the returns of the market. You don't try to do anything crazy. You get the average 10% return a year, and you do this for 30 years. Well, here you have nothing. After 30 years here, you're going to have $1 million. Which one do you want? You want the $1 million, or do you want nothing? Well, once you have the $1 million, guess what? You can take that $1 million, go to the BMW store, go to the Mercedes store, and buy whatever car you want with cash and not have to worry about the price. So you decide which one's more better for you. When it comes to cutting the crap, I have a very simple rule, which is if it does not put money in your pocket, you do not finance it, period. The only exception to this is the house that you live in. So your car, your cell phone, your vacations, your furniture, do not finance it. Buy it with cash. If you can't buy it with cash, don't buy it. And yes, this also includes 0% APR. And the reason why I say that is because, well, a lot of people have this love for 0% APR, because they say, why would I pay $1,000 for an iPhone when I could just pay $50 a month with 0% APR? I can invest the difference. Well, why do you think any company would lend you money at 0% APR? If you walked into any bank and asked for a $1,000 loan at 0% interest, would they give that to you? No. So how can a company afford to give you money at 0% APR? And the reason why is because they're actually making a lot of money by lending you money at 0% interest. Why? Because number one, they know that it's much easier to make a purchase when it's 0% APR, because you don't have the full pain of $1,000 leaving your pocket today. It's just $50. and then $50 next month, and $50 next month. So it's a lot easier to make bigger purchases when you don't have that pain of money leaving your account. Number two, they know that when you make that purchase, well, they can sell you more stuff because you don't have the pain of that money leaving your account. Because now when you buy that phone, you don't have $1,000 leave your account, you're much more likely to buy the case and the AirPods and the other accessories to go along with it, which you wouldn't have been able to afford in the first place, but now you don't have $1,000 leaving your account. It's just small little payments. And number three, they know that many people are not gonna actually make the payments. And so when you don't finish up the payments in time, well, now they're gonna slap on 20, 25, 30, 35% interest sometimes. And now they're making even more money on that interest because you didn't pay it off in time. So no, do not use 0% APR. Buy what you want, buy what you can afford with cash. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.